welcome along to the show Everything Good with your host Marcia Carr, aka Marcia the Vinyl MC. It's been another month in isolation around the globe, but that hasn't stopped the music from carrying on. And just to let you know, in that good spirit, we have some amazing guests in hour 2 who go by the name of 44th Move, and they're going to be on the producer's profile, so make sure you stick around for that. We've got lots of funk, some soul, some jazz for you, but if I give it all away, you won't stick around. And you know, it's all about you being entertained, so stick around to some good music. We're going to kick off firstly with this vintage classic from 1975 from a keyboardist who goes by the name of Shirley Scott. This album has been reissued and it's on Arc Records. This is my favorite cut, Don't Look Back. also a nice way to start off the show with some wonderful jazz flavors from a keyboardist and also a very extraordinary organist who goes by the name of Shirley Scott. Now passed away. She was born in Philadelphia in 1937. She passed away in 2002, and she's on that track with her supported band members, Harold Vick on tenor saxophone, if you can hear him there, and also Billy Higgins on drums, and the wonderful cut called Don't Look Back, which I really like. It's lifted from her LP One For Me, and it's now been reissued on Arc Records. We're going to keep on the jazz flavors a little bit more, but going over to something on the vocal tip from New Tropic, and it's their cover of Dance of the Little Children from 2005. Enjoy this. Well, it seems some of you are rather clever clogs out there and very astute. You're paying attention. That's nice to know. I actually put on Jessica, which is not the correct track I wanted to play. I put the wrong side on. Dance to the Little Children is what I wanted to feature today from the band New Tropic. But no worries, still a really good double A side, let's just call it that, shall we? Moving over to our dear colleague, highly esteemed as she is, Miss Josie Rebel here on Rinsefm. And yeah, she put together this wonderful compilation called Josie in Space. And I'm rather smitten with quite a few of the tracks, but I want you to check out this one on the Jazz Funk Jazz Fusion tip. It's called Café con Leche. Produced by Des Andres. Really liking this. And if you're into Jazz Funk Fusion, get your ears around this. If you've just joined us, welcome along to Rinsefm. It's good to have you on board. Sending this one out to Trus, also to the lovely Garth. Shouts out to you, David Graham and Keith Boogie. Track entitled Café con Leche, produced by Andres, and that's lifted from the Josie in Space compilation album put together by the lovely Josie Rebel here at Rinsefm. Gonna keep up with some more fusion flavors. This is something of a special 7-inch that I picked up some years ago. It's on a little label out of Germany called Black Pearl Records. Check this out. jazz fusion sounds there from 1978 from Friedhelm Schoenfeld Trio, and a cut entitled Los Caribos. Hopefully you were enjoying that as much as I was. And if you go to places like Shiftless Shuffle, if you're into your jazz, you can be guaranteed to hear these kind of sounds and more for the fast and furious that like it that way on their feet. We're going to switch up the tempo just a little bit now, moving over to some brand new music out of Manchester from a collective called Secret Night Gang. And I have to thank Stuart, the bass man, for sending me this cut. Really liking this. Him, Callum, Kamani Anderson, and some other members, including the lovely producer Yvonne Ellis, are behind this project out of Manchester. Enjoy this brand new music.
Something in the way I feel, my heart begins to fall. The way you look at me, it makes me want more. I wanna be with you, yeah. I wanna be with you, yeah. I wanna be with you, I wanna be with you. The wind passed by my window, the leaves fall off the tree. I always want you with me, but it's harder than it seems. I wanna be with you, I wanna be, I wanna be with you, I wanna be with you, yeah. I wanna be with you. Late nights, phone calls, take me by surprise. Wishing you were in my arms. Time is giving me a chance to understand how to make it through life. I wanna be with you, 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 I wanna be with you. Be with you, I wanna be with you, I wanna be with you. I want those late nights, phone calls, take me by surprise. I need my baby all day and night. I'm gonna hold her tight. I need you, baby, yeah. In my life, all day and night. In my life, all day and night. In my life, all day and night.
Coming out of Manchester, beautiful soul music from Secret Night Gang. And on bass, I'm trying to remember who we've got on bass now. Anyway, let me just tell you the band members: Kimani Anderson providing the vocals there of Wanna Be With You, Callum Connell on sax. Who else we got? Stuart Whitehead, that's it, sorry Stu, on the bass. Really liking this cut a lot, and his sound, worked with him before. Mike Wilson on drums, and there are some other band members. But what I like especially about this track is that it was produced by Yvonne Ellis. So shouts out to you, even though I don't know the sister, big up yourself. So, gonna play a bit of jazz, fusion, soul to take us to the halfway point of this first hour. And if you've just joined us and wondering what's going on, this is Everything Good, and we broadcast usually live on Rinsefm, but we're still in isolation at the moment, so we're doing things, flexing it a little differently. In hour 2, we have a very special guest. They go by the name of 44th Move, so make sure you stay tuned for them. They're going to be on Producer's Profile, and they've got lots to share about their work ethic and how they bring the music to you, the fans, the listeners out there. But in the meantime, before we do that, we've got so much more good music coming your way. So enjoy this, an old cut on Jazzman Records. And while the intro is quite quiet, let me just tell you, if you'd like to get involved in the show, you'd like to let us know how you're feeling about Everything Good, you can speak to us through Twitter. The tags are Rinsefm, or mine, my personal one, which is Talking Music Pro. Come and say hello. Come and find us on Facebook, or come and check me on my page, the Everything Good Show, which is on Facebook. Come and say hello, people. So we're stepping back to 2019 on Brownswood Recordings now for a 10-inch single from Joe Armand Jones. A lot of people have been raving about him on the UK jazz funk scene the last few years. This is him in the middle of this animation piece of art here. Nice little 10-inch that I picked up. Icy Roads on the A side and Aquarius on the B side, which you're listening to now. Shouts out to Mads Insafall, how you doing? Stafford Williamson, big up to you. Bringing you a mix-a-lot selection of good quality sounds. We keep the music flowing. This is brand new from Deborah Jordan. Back on the soul scene with a track called Be There, Call My Name. You can find this on the UK Futuristica Recordings. It's produced by Mark Rapson and Mecca83, taken from that album See in the Dark. Enjoy this.
Just call my name.
you want from me is still party. Tonight's party, party till the break it down. What you want from me is still party. What you want from me is still party. Tonight's party, party till the break it down. Do you know the steps? Yeah, shit, I do. While we're moving on the fringe of our existence. How does it feel? It's so unreal. Hold me tight. Something has got to happen tonight. Do you know the steps? Yeah, shit, I do. While we're moving on the fringe of our existence. How does it feel? It's so unreal. Hold me tight. Something has got to happen tonight. What you want from me is still party. What you want from me is still party. Tonight's party, party till the break it down. What you want from me is still party. What you want from me is still party. Tonight's party, party till the break it down. Clap your hands and move your feet. Jump, kick up the streets. What you feel like this? It rocks that bitch and motherfuckers be on that. And we love to move our bodies, something else from that. Tonight's party, party till the break it down. 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 Do you know the steps? Yeah, shit, I do. While we're moving on the fringe of our existence. How does it feel? It's so unreal. Hold me tight. Something has got to happen tonight. Do you know the steps? Yeah, shit, I do. While we're moving on the fringe of our existence. How does it feel? It's so unreal. Hold me tight. Something has got to happen tonight.
So in the hour 2 of the show today on Everything Good, we have some special guests called 44th Move. And the duo signed to Black Acre Records are going to be telling you the listeners all about how they produce their grooves to make you move in the studio and what they're up to. So I thought it'd be nice to introduce you to them, not as 44th Move, but with something from one of the members, Richard Spaven. Alpha Mist is also the other member of the duo, and this is him under the Flow Riders alias, which came out in last year. It was an anniversary re-edition of the compilation on Mr. Bongo Records out of Brighton. So enjoy the rest of this cut entitled President.
Then confess to the mess that I have disgracefully, shamefully, blamefully left. Pick apart the spy that I am. Rip apart the cloud, the traitor that I am. Stick a camera in the place where it all began. Yeah. Watch me bleed, cry, speed, fly. Why? You ask yourself. Try to defend yourself. Prime time. Iniquity, my savior and lifeline. Beautifully sure of a cure with a law to the shores of the gore, naming price for the poor. Or question, please sir, isn't embarrassment circulating hard and fast behind that signpost mask you so carefully hide behind? Ridicule and lie behind, exterminate fry and kind, typically cheat and blind with greed, lust, and meanwhile the world watches you take the bribe at the price of everyone's life. So, I speak for all who have no voice. I speak for all who have no choice. I speak for more than oil, rejoice. Funny how to feel good is to know good. Ain't no thing got to make this a positive how do you feel? Ain't no thing got it's a positive world. Ain't no thing got to make this a positive world. Ain't no thing got to make this a positive world. Positive world.
let's get here now. Cause I'm tough and so naive. Love and deep, I better leave. Conundrum. 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 French expressions, tight black dress. Hippolytus to impress. Likes to call herself Miss Blue. Can't resist catch 22. Feeling back from moon to sleep. As I count electric sheep. Psychological, my friend. Just one more jungle in the end. Round, round and round and round and round. Conundrum, conundrum. Mental, all the way. Round, round and round and round and round. Conundrum, conundrum. It's my night and day. Round, round and round and round and round. One more jungle in the air. Round, round and round and round and round. Conundrums here again.
Hello out there. If you've just joined us, welcome along to Everything Good with your host Marcia Carr, Marcia the Vinyl MC, as I'm also known. This show happens live on Rinsefm usually, but because of lockdown and the situation around the globe with the pandemic and the virus and whatnot and so forth, we are again broadcasting from my home. And I trust you're enjoying the musical selection nonetheless. We have a guest in hour 2, in case you've only just joined us. When I say a guest, it's a duo. They're called 44th Move, and we're going to be featuring them on a little thing which I call Producer's Profile. So make sure you stick around for that, because they'll be telling you all about how they work in the studio and what they're up to. So if you're an upcoming budding producer, or maybe you're somebody in hiatus, you've been at it many years ago, and you'd like some fresh new tips as to how to go about doing whatever you make sound-wise, then make sure you stay around for this feature coming up. Producer's Profile in the second hour. We've also got music to come from Sound Signature Records, something from the Old Stable on that label, and so much other goodies. And make sure you stick around, keep it where it's at. If you'd like to get involved in the show, you can do so through Twitter at Rinsefm or my tag, which is Talking Music Pro. Shouts out to Kahal and also M in the studio. Welcome back to the second hour of Everything Good here on Rinsefm with your host Marcia, the Vinyl MC. That's me. So, as I promised you, coming up very soon, we have our producer's profile for this edition of the show, and 44th Move are my guests. They are a duo, a production duo with a rich heritage and history, but I'm not going to tell you too much about them because I'd like them to share all that they need to with you in that feature that's coming up. Before we head over to them, I'm going to play some music. We've got music on the indie disco kind of tip from some New Yorkers. They're called Phenomenal Handclap Band. But before that, how about this classic on Sound Signature Records? This one goes out to all of you dancers out there. brand new music from the phenomenal Handclap band out of NYC. This came out on Germany's Toy Tonic Records last week. So if you're into the sounds of Franz Ferdinand or perhaps Brian Ferry, remember him from Roxy Music, then this is a band you'll definitely probably appreciate and get into. And speaking of those aforementioned artists, this band have actually supported both acts a couple of times in NYC and further afield. So we're going to be moving over now. Going to have to cut the track short because we want to get in this beautiful feature for you. Producer's Profile today. Welcome us along. 44th movement. And here's what the duo had to say about what they had to say. Check it out. Welcome along to Everything Good with your host, Marcia, the Vinyl MC. We are still in lockdown, as you all know, but you know what? We're making the best of these situations, turning it into good fruit. So we have very special guests again on Producer's Profile, where we feature established and up-and-coming names who tell us about their work ethic and what makes them tick in making their music for you all. So welcome along to the show, 44th Move. How are you, Alpha Mist and Richard? Welcome along to the show.
Hi, thanks.
Thanks for having us.
It's a pleasure to have you on board. I appreciate your time is precious. Even though we're in lockdown, the way I've been thinking of it is that every moment and every day actually is quite precious because we don't know what's around the corner in this brave new world, as I call it, that's coming. For those people out there who don't know all about you, I think you should individually tell us briefly in a minute or two who you are, Richard, and who you are, Alpha Mist, because I know, but do the listeners and the viewers know? Tell us.
Well, I'm a drummer mainly who 10 years ago, Jazz Refreshed organisation asked me to make a record, which I did, and that launched like a sort of producer solo career for me, which is still ongoing. You know, I still play drums for other artists and like all sorts of stuff, but I also work on my own music quite a bit. And yeah, still doing it. And then meeting Alpha came about through, well, we'll talk about that in a minute, but it was through working with Jordan Rakai. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
I started off as a producer, and I started playing keys after, and I've released like a few projects since 2014. I've released like a project a year, and I've just been, you know, putting out music I think sounds good. It's not really got too many genres tied to them, but each sort of project in itself has been I've been exploring different things, you know. So yeah, that's been me. That's been me.
So Richard, Spaven, as some people like to call you.
To my friends, Marcia.
I like to call you both because I remember you mentioned Jazz Refresh earlier, Spaven's High Five project, and I've still got that and play it out. And it's nice to get the audience reaction when I test out your tracks in clubs. So you said you met Alpha Mist on a Jordan Rakai project. You've got quite an extensive pedigree of a career in the amount of names that you've worked with, and doing all sorts with the late Guru Jazzmatazz, Flying Lotus, also Josie James. I love him as well. I'm unfamiliar with James Zoo, which is what the biog that came through mentioned. But also you have your excuse me, your Camden Jazz Cafe project, on which obviously was doing quite well with the Richard Spaven trio before lockdown. So you met Alpha Mist doing drums, I guess, for Jordan Rakai, the singer.
Well, it's when he first came to the UK. He asked me to work with him on a track on his Cloak album, and we did that, and it was amazing working with him, like to meet someone of that caliber and work with them. And then I was writing my Self album right at that time, and it was just suddenly like completely obvious that I needed to get him on there, and it was just perfect timing because I'd just done something for him, so it just put us in a nice situation where I could just ask him to do something for me. And then him singing on the Self track that I did was like, I mean, it's like been my most successful tune ever. I'm super proud of that one. So
I'm sure you have many more to come. So hold that thought, yeah? I'm sure you've got many more to come along. So Alpha Mist, you're a classically trained pianist, but I know your roots are in hip hop and also kind of neo soul. I was unaware that your first album, which I bought digitally through Bandcamp, had attained 6 million streams on YouTube. The Anti-Fon project. How did that make you feel? And can you share a little bit how that project kind of came about, being that you're self-taught as well as a pianist?
Yeah, so I released a project called Nocturne back in 2015, and it featured a lot of my just my friends around the time. It featured Jordan Rakai was on that project. He just came to London. There's a few other people that I just knew. I put that project out because I was trying to work with as many sort of features as I can. And after I finished that project, I was like, do you know what? I want to make something just for myself, and then I'll go back to being a producer. So I just want to make some music that's just, that I feel, I just wanted to make it. I didn't care what it did. I just wanted to get it out to the universe and then move on and go back to doing sessions with people and stuff like that. Because I thought that's where I'd probably have a career, most likely, not the artist route, the producer route. So I put out Antiphon, and I just sort of turned my back on it, and I turned around and it had sort of blown up on YouTube somehow. And I think it got into like algorithms with like, beat tapes and like, Madlib albums and stuff. And then you had like, there's a lot of jazz full albums on YouTube as well. I think it just got tangled into that world. And then a lot of people just came across it. And before I knew it, it's like the stuff I really wanted to do became the stuff people actually liked, me for. So yeah, that's how that came about.
Obviously, it's a very good feeling for you to achieve that, and then you and Richard come together on the 44th Move project, kind of through Jordan Rakai. I guess that is the connection. there, and it's amazing when things just, I don't believe in coincidences, but it's your timing to come together. Who thought of the name 44th Move? And tell us about the identity about this EP, which is forthcoming on Black Acre Records. Who wants to?
So firstly, I just want to mention that I used to, when I was younger, I used to go Jazz Refreshed and see Spaven play. Like, he doesn't even know that I was in the audience. Spaven's a legend, man. Like, he knows he's a legend, but I'm just saying, I knew him way before he knew who I was. Do you know what I'm saying? Just because of the whole scene back then, you know, whatever people call it, you know, this London scene or whatever. This wasn't born last year. Like, when I was young, I was going to these places. People were amazing musicians, man. So, yeah, just a privilege to sort of work with him on this project. And the name 44th Move actually came from the head of Black Acre, because we were thinking, we had a WhatsApp group for names and stuff, and we came out with with a lot of them. And as soon as he said 44th Move and explained sort of his reasoning for it, it sort of clicked. I don't know. What do you think, Rich? Do you think is that accurate?
Yeah, we were looking for a name. We were talking about chess for some reason. I remember I started talking about chess, and it's the 44th Move name is so moody. Like, the story behind it, it's like this computer playing Kasparov at chess, and the 44th Move was a big, like, dramatic, controversial situation and stuff. Not that I consider Me and Alpha to be a controversial situation. But, I did
think the name was connected somehow to chess, only because my brother used to play a lot of chess and was in a few clubs. So I thought that sounds like something to do with a game of chess. So you guys are strategically making movements, and you're at this point.
Nice.
What's that symbiotic relationship like when you're in the studio? You being on drums, Richard, and you, Alpha, being on keys. Do you gel automatically on everything? Are you controversial in any way, shape or form behind the scenes, perhaps? And does that connect to the title?
Well, I'm gonna go on this one, because we already started writing the second album, and the writing process with Alpha, I mean, I think we've got a lot in common in terms of influences and stuff like that. And the writing session we did a couple of writing sessions quite recently, just before lockdown actually, and so completely effortless and just totally inspired from start to finish. Like, I'm so excited about the new stuff. And it's like, that's just when I know it's right to be working with someone, is when you just float ideas together, and it just escalates and turns into something special, you know. So that just makes me so enthusiastic about this whole project and working with Alpha, who, by the way, I caned your Nocturne album. See, we need to be on the interview with you, Mars, to say these things to each other. We never say these things. But it got taken down off Spotify at one point, Nocturne. There was, I don't know, you had some rights issue, and I was like, Alpha, where's Nocturne gone, man? I can't listen to it. I used to cane that album.
Oh man, it's wicked. But yeah, being in the studio with Spaven is just, it's amazing, because I come from the sort of production background. I kind of know when it comes to playing, when I first started playing with musicians, especially in jazz, a lot of it is about the player, and you know what I mean, the individual, and how great the individual is, or technically gifted and stuff like that, and they're trying to sort of win when you're making music. And I'm just like, hold on, I thought we were trying to make, you know, we're trying to make a good song here, you know. So it's refreshing, you know. I come into the studio with Spaven, and we're just trying to make things that feel right and sit properly, rather than like, you know, there's not really explosive keyboard playing for me on this project, because it doesn't need, like, you know what I mean, it sits right. I think the 44th really nice balance, and I think there's a time and a place for, you know, I don't know, crazy dexterity and stuff, but really and truly, it's about what the listener's gonna take in, you know, and that's what I think we kind of focus on that, and that sort of makes us work.
There's been some nice comments about that, like with the record being out, just from people really appreciating that aspect of what we do as well, which I really like when that's clear for people.
I think it's new to, there's space within the realms of jazz, because it's not pop music you're producing. It's not sort of straight up hip hop or spoken word or something along those lines. It does fit in within the realm, the dynamics of jazz. There's room for that. I love dance floor, fast, garrety jazz tracks because I'm an ex-jazz dancer, so I like the tension within fusion and things like that. But there's room for this. So if I'm on the beach or if I'm driving my car, I can still appreciate the music. Now, the first track, I find the title quite interesting, Techno. Is that correct? Is it called Techno?
It's called Little Techno.
Little Techno within jazz. Somebody elaborate on the title and the reasoning behind that track, bearing in mind what Alpha just said.
I'm going in on this one, Alpha, because I named that one. But
do it.
It's got like a little. It's really. It's just a moody little, almost like a little soundtrack piece or something. That tune, you know, it's not clamoring for. It's not trying to get too much attention or anything. It's subtle, but it just has that little 4 on the floor, quite a heavy sort of 4 on the floor kick. And I think, again, just kind of, it's just reflecting the fact that we can quite happily be as influenced by techno as we are just any other kind of music, you know, that it's, you know, why not? It's just a little nod to the influences and inspirations, really.
I think we should let the listeners have just a few minutes burst of it, and I'm sure they're going to agree. So I'm going to turn it up just for a minute or two, yeah?
Yeah. Whilst you're at it.
It's funny, Richard. Looks like he's reading the paper. That is the vinyl. Yay! I'm so glad that you guys have got the vinyl now. Yes, nice one. I'm the only one who's missing it at the moment. I feel really embarrassed. But I promise to get my copy very soon. So people, you need to go out and buy it. Come on, go out and support them, the guys. 44th Move. You're not nodding, Richard.
It will look like I'm nodding out of time. I was nodding when we wrote it, trust me.
It's too short. It finishes too quickly. Before you realise, you look around and think, oh gosh, I've only got 48 seconds left on that. You know what? It's very dreamy. It makes me think, oh yeah, I just want to sit or chill out. If we had the weather that we had last week in London, you'd put your cans on, your headphones on, and you just lay back and think, quarantine, isolation, what are you talking about? I'm just in my own world enjoying a little techno.
Sweet.
That is perfect.
So you named that first track, and it's the opening piece on 44th Move. I think that's a banging name, you know. I actually quite like that. It's very different from anything that I've ever heard before in terms of names of album. Tell me about the second track, Fly, Alpha.
With Fly, I actually used some of the conversation from Antiphon. So if you ever listen to Antiphon, there's like, I sat down with my brothers and recorded a sort of, you could call it a podcast or whatever, but I chopped up conversations bits and bobs sprinkled them all the way through that project. And this is just some of the remnants of the project. I think I was playing it just for reference in the studio with Swaven, and I didn't think we were going to use it in the end. I was just like, how would sort of words sound on this? And Swaven was like, no, let's use it. We're using that. And I was like, oh, okay, well, let's use it then. And so I let him, like, he sorted it out. He arranged it and stuff like that, where they should come in and stuff. And but yeah, the tune itself, again, that was another organic sort of process, sort of just made between two of us. But yeah, that's Fly.
And when you're playing it out live in sessions previously, before lockdown, obviously you tested water, road tested it in gigs. What crowd reaction or interaction been like?
We haven't played it live yet. I mean, like, playing live right now seems like such a distant memory that I just can't wait to play this live. Actually, no, sorry, we played it once. We played it once. Alpha kindly guested with me at the Jazz Caf show like about a year ago, and we played Fly. It was the tune that we played on that show. So we did play it once. Of course, it brought the house down. It was total pandemonium in there, Marcia. You should have seen it when they heard that.
I can go believe it. It's the drum. It's very funky drummer.
Nice.
You know, it just lets rip, and the title is, you know, synonymous with you. You feel like you're flying high. You're ascending to the sky. You know, that track makes you move. Definitely, it's a banger.
Sweet. All right, banger. We'll take that. We're quoting you on that.
You know what? All good press helps, yeah? So,
yeah.
Now this EP is quite short, but there's just enough on there to wet the whistle of your growing audience and your fan base, I believe. And with British, UK jazz, you know, doing quite wonderful things in terms of press from what I'm seeing, but it's always been there for me because, as I said, I'm an ex-jazz dancer. And so jazz elements are always featured within my music as a DJ. So it never went away for me, if you see what I mean. I love how the US influences are creeping over and coming from Australia, New Zealand, from the US as well, consistently as well. And you guys are hooking up. This transatlantic thing is going on through the music. Has that been your experience, I should have said, or are you finding it quite limited? Are you only working in an insular domain with UK cats, or is it just all about you two?
Like we said, we actually met through Jordan Rakai, who's actually from New Zealand, grew up in Australia, and yeah, he moved to London. So I actually met him before he moved to London, so I knew him already off of I think the Australia scene at that time, soul especially, man, was really, really good back then. And so I think by working with Jordan, that was sort of working across the seas, you know what I mean? And him being the link for 44th Move. Yeah, I think because of the internet, it's a lot easier, you know, to work with people. We have Takuya Kuroda on Hope. And he didn't record that in the same room with us, you know, like, and it's ridiculous the stuff he did on that song, man. So yeah, hopefully this sort of stuff can continue. But yeah, I think it has been sort of fruitful in terms of working with people overseas and stuff. Definitely.
Takuya Kuroda's a trumpet player that he's Japanese, but he lives in New York, and I work with him a lot on the Jose James like albums and touring and that. And it was when I mentioned him to Alpha, he was enthusiastic about him being on that track, and it's just a nice little something tight about that unit, you know, me and Alpha and Taku. It's like kind of just made that tune what it is.
I like the international connection, and long may it continue. And you guys have only performed Fly together once, but you know what? maybe it's time very soon for the 44th Move to do a virtual, concert online. Everyone else is doing something like that. And I know I saw a session with you recently drumming to promote this EP, Richard, but you two, you get together, do it through this. Zoom is the platform. Zoom is your friend right now, to perhaps connect it like that and get a couple of vocalists on there as well, and do your thing. Just let me know and I'll be there, front row and all.
You'll be dancing, Mas.
Yeah, I'll be dancing here in front of my records, because that's what I do best, I think. So have either of you got a particular track that really, or maybe almost brings you to tears, or causes you to become emotional on this project? I mean, obviously you love it all, but there must be a personal favorite between you two.
Mine is 2-0, definitely 2-0. Because I really, yeah. It was just a sort of offhanded when we named that one. It's just sort of a demo recorded name that stuck, definitely. But yeah, because it's the last tune on there. I'm like, I really hope that one doesn't get lost or people miss out on it, because it's one of my favorite ones on there, definitely, man. So yeah, for me it's 2-0. What is it for you,
Richard?
I agree, but probably hope, I guess. But I love 2-0. I can't decide. It's like a real classic bit of Alpha Mist writing, that 2-0, and it came out just super moody. And it's funny when I release things into the world, I really respect the people who say what their favorite track is, and when it's the same as my favorite track. And there's been a lot of those for 2-0. There's a lot of people like 2-0's my tune, and I love that.
I think it's the title that stands out, and I reckon all your mates that like it are into football.
Yeah,
that could be the case.
That could be the connection.
Yeah,
I like. I think it's track number 4. It's kind of a broken influence track.
It's called Broken.
Yeah.
Yes, I thought it was called Broken and something else, but that's I as a dancer, that's the one that makes me, jump up and get down. Is that easy for you as a drummer, Richard, to keep up the pace with the way the movement of Broken Beat has turned out for lots of people, the way they've interpreted this scene, this movement, UK, West London originated and born out of? Does that sort of keep your drumming at a good pace, or do you find sometimes working on different people's projects, and when they've incorporated that genre, are you like a duck to water every time? Is it a natural thing for you as a drummer, or is it only your own work that you're most comfortable?
No, I mean, because Broken Beat's such a big influence for me, and I've always said, like, the best thing you can do if you want to learn to play that stuff is go and hear it in a club, So those days that I spent down at Co-op listening to this stuff was all school for me. And when you hear it on a system like that, you internalize it, and then it becomes like your own language to use for yourself. So when it comes to playing the stuff, like I feel like it's legit. You know what I mean? I didn't check out Broken Beat on YouTube. I lived the whole scene, and then playing with all the artists that I work with on that scene as well. And then, I mean, I'm not sure where Alpha came across Broken Beat, but having been to Jazz Refreshed as much as he has been, I guess there was some crossover there. So you could see how our influences kind of really meet up when it comes to working on 44th Move.
Absolutely. You mentioned Jazz Refreshed. I used to attend it regularly on a Thursday until I had to get a job. And I used to go to Co-op religiously. So bred within the scene's movements as well. We've grown up with it as well. Alpha, you might be a little bit younger than Richard and myself perhaps, but that doesn't matter. You know, you're all about feeling the vibe. Does being classically trained as a musician, it doesn't stifle you, does it? Because your first love is hip hop, I guess, and neo soul. But how do you feel about the broken beat influence within the project, your music as well?
So first of all, I'm not classically trained at all. Like, I didn't start playing piano until I was 17, and I was just making beats. I'm more come from the grime scene, rather than the broken beat connection is there because I used to go jazz refresh quite a bit after college and going into uni. My friend Junior used to tell me to come down to this place, Jazz Refresh. Loads of great players, Spaven included, and that's where the sort of broken beat stuff I sort of tapped into that stuff a bit more. But yeah, the music side, like the musician side, happened a bit later. I was just making sort of grand beats, then hip hop beats. I was more like producing rather than playing, and then I got into that later on, and just absorbed everything that London sort of had to offer. So the jazz stuff, the broken beat stuff, and then obviously the grime stuff as well. So I think stuff like 44th Move is a good showcase of all our influences, because a tune like Hope, for example, it's more of a grime flow, and it goes from, like, you know, for me back in the day, tapping into my sort of childhood, you know what I mean, just playing about. But yeah, definitely London music has definitely raised me. London has definitely raised my influence of music, definitely.
I like that you said the 44th Move, the whole project encompasses elements and influences of what you both appreciate, not just as musicians, but what you've kind of grown up in, which is great. Richard, you mentioned earlier you're already working on your second album, which is great. I'm encouraged by that, because sometimes you hear of artists, they do one or two projects and next minute it blows up in the news. Oh, the group has disbanded and stuff. So that's good news to hear for your fans. Let's build on this. Can we expect much more of the same, of this kind of sound for album 2, or do you not want to give away too much just yet?
I think you'll hear that it's us, but I think it's I don't know, it's just going to be a developed version. But I think those things that we were talking about earlier on, about just, you know, it's not going to be some sort of like sort of technical shred sort of album ever with us, I don't think. And I think it's going to keep that moodiness, you know. I would say like a continuation, but what I will say as well is, like, on the writing that we've done so far, I'm so excited about getting this one done. It's just sounding amazing. Like, I've just got little demos here on my phone from the writing session, and they sound amazing even at this stage. So I'm looking forward to carrying on with that. Like, lockdown kind of has got in the way of that process a bit, but you know, I'm sure we'll pick it up. We've got a load of work done already, and it's just really excited about it.
Well, maybe not. It sounds like you're being very fruitful and productive. You know, you're not in a mood in a negative way. You're using the time while it is daylight. You're redeeming it to do something fruitful. And of course, it's the same for you, isn't it, Alpha? Obviously, you might be working on your own separate Alpha Mist as a separate entity project, but you and Richard are making strides, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely, man. I'm definitely excited for where 44th Move is going to go, and this next project, especially. As soon as we were in the studio with it, I was just like, you know, you want to record it there and then get it ready, but there's the first project isn't even out yet, so it's like we'd done the second one, and the first one, you know, hadn't even been released yet. So it's going to take patience, but I'm looking forward to getting back in and recording this after everything gets after this whole thing blows over. Yeah.
Is it likely that it will be on Black Acre again? And shouts out to Ian for signing this project for you too.
It'll definitely be on Black Acre again. Shout
Definitely
out to
Black
Ian
Acre.
Merchant. Yeah.
Ian Merchant, all day, every day.
Yes, big up to Ian. And I quite like the name Black Acre Records. What's the actual release date of this 12-inch? Would you mind just showing it to the camera once again for those who may have come in on this podcast a little bit late? So, you know, we need to remind them. And I love the artwork. Who produced that? As well as
that was a
release date.
illustrator called Patch. Patch did that. The release date for this was... Oh, it doesn't actually say the actual date on... Hold on.
24th of April, I think it was.
Oh, yeah, of course. 24th of April.
Very recent. It's fresh. That's good.
Yeah.
And also people pick it up digitally on usual platforms like Bandcamp and where else? No?
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's on Spotify, Bandcamp, just all your streaming places as well, but also on the Black Acre site to get the vinyl, and you can get the vinyl on Bandcamp as well.
Excellent. Well, guys, it's been amazing speaking to you about this project. Thank you for sharing your time on Producer's Profile, sharing your work ethic, giving that bit of insight as to how you guys think. And I wish you both amazing road to success, which I believe it will be. I do want to add that I think that you should do a digital, an internet virtual little mini concert, half an hour live stream. You let me know and I'll be happy to share the URL. And speaking of that, can you give us your individual URLs? Because obviously you are 44th Move, but you also are Alpha Mist autonomously and Richard Spaven autonomously. Tell the people where they can find out more about you online.
You could find me just sort of any of these platforms, YouTube, Instagram, but everything's just /Alpha Mist, Alpha with an F. But yeah, that's me.
Yeah, there's not too many Spavens around, so it's quite a useful surname. If you want to find me, it's like, just punch that into Spotify or wherever you are, or Instagram, you'll find us. And as well, we're running a 44th Move page as well.
Excellent. Well, guys, thank you so much for being part of Everything Good to feature on the Producer's Profile. And yeah, all the best of success with this record.
Thank you, Mars.
Yeah, and shouts out
Thanks a lot,
to
Mars.
the record label for having the good vision and ears to sign absolutely brilliant music. We look forward to hearing more from you guys. We're gonna get back to the rest of Everything Good here today, and make sure you keep your ears peeled for more music coming from the duo Alpha Mist and Richard Spaven, who are 44th Move. I'm wondering what their next move on that board will be. Well, thank you for sticking around. I really hope you enjoyed that interview. Producer's Profile with 44th Move. And as the guys said, make sure you check them out on all the URLs across all the platforms across the internet. We're closing off the show now, and I've got something rather special. This is, as of yet, as far as I know, not released on any label, so it's a bit of a hot one. This is produced by a friend of mine called Sai Says, under the alias of Mind State, featuring his Bitter Truth, and the cut is entitled What in the World, and it features Dan Da Kahuni and musician Brian Hayes. He used to work apparently with Black Masses, so check this out. And if we have time afterwards, I'm going to try and squeeze in, maybe, we'll see how the time goes, one more, a classic on the house tip. Don't forget, you can still get involved in the show. Send us a tweet at Rinsefm or my tag, which is Talking Music Pro. And the show, of course, you're watching is and listening to Everything Good with your host, Marcia the Vinyl MC. That's me. So, did I remember to say my goodbyes? It's that time. Oh my gosh. Having such a good time here on the show. If you've only just joined us, you've missed it all, but you know what? Better late than never. Ways to catch up are, of course, through SoundCloud, where every one of the presenters here at Rinsefm, you can catch the archive podcasts of our shows. That includes mine, of course, and also we'll be tweeting about it and letting you know. Find out the information as well on Facebook, on the Rinsefm page, or come to my page through Twitter at Talking Music Pro. You can even find us on Instagram. Ways to catch up. Make sure you stay tuned, because at the top of the hour, the next show is live and up and running just for you. So don't you go anywhere. Thank you for your company. One love and God bless until I see you again next time.